Hey friends, the MiniVerse Lord of the Rings series is definitely tricky to put together, but I'm going to switch things up and try some different techniques than what's shown on the guide. I haven't tested any of these ideas yet, so it could totally flop, but either way, you'll get some valuable tips and hopefully you'll be able to make yours even better. So I mentioned this in the short as well, but this series comes with a lot of stuff, so let me get everything out of here first and then we're gonna start building it. So based on all these items and the collector's guide, it seems like we got the Uruk-hai sword, and I'm not extremely familiar with Lord of the Rings. I mean, I did watch it, but I don't remember a lot. It's been quite a while. I do, however, remember that Uruk-hai are some kind of orcs and they're really strong, and the swords that they have are usually massive. So this particular kit comes with a stand where for now, we're just gonna put the shield on. And then the little wooden looking crate came with a hammer, a nice little anvil, a sanding tool that has a little bit of sanding paper on this side, then a little map. Of course, we have the resin, a little nozzle tip, to which you can attach this new thing, which is a kind of new addition to the MiniVerse universe. It helps you get into all the nooks and crannies of the mold. We also got these two stickers that I'm guessing will go on the handle, so they're supposed to imitate leather. And then of course the mold that we're going to use to make this blade. And right off the bat, I'm a little bit worried because I think the handle part is somewhere in here. And as you can see, the mold kind of like ends here. So it's going to be kind of tricky to get the resin all the way in there. And at the same time, get it nice and cured and then pull it out without breaking it. So we'll see. I'm going to work on this wooden looking table that's from the Harry Potter series. I think it looks great and it fits in here perfectly. And I know a lot of people out there have trouble using this resin, me included, but I'm going to give it another try just to give it the benefit of doubt. In case it doesn't work, I have a backup plan, but for now, let's just try it with this. So I'm honestly thinking of cutting this a little shorter because I feel like the longer it is, the more chances we have of getting air bubbles in there, because if you don't squeeze it continuously as you go and then, you let go of this, it will just pull air into the tube. And then if you go deep and squeeze it again, you will just get all that air out and into the actual resin that's, in the mold. So even though they're not suggesting to do this in the guide, I'm gonna do it anyway, and if anything, we're gonna learn something from doing it. So I'm gonna start over here at the tip, and I'm going to try to squeeze it continuously, see if that does anything. Alright, I don't know how deep that went. It doesn't look like it went that deep, which kind of worries me a little bit. But let's keep on adding more, and even if it comes, to the top, I can just wipe it down before I cure it. I'd rather have more resin in there than not enough. As you guys can see, there's already some bubbles, which hopefully we can poke later on. You know what I was thinking? I should kind of like prime this before, I stick it back in there so that there's no air bubbles. I'm just gonna squeeze it here, get a couple of drops out. And then what I want to do is kind of like try to stick it inside here because this is where the handle is. These are definitely a lot harder to make than any other MiniVerse series, but I'm guessing if you're patient and if you take your time, they should turn out okay. I don't know, we'll see. Otherwise, we're gonna use a different technique. I just want to overall give it the benefit of the doubt and actually take my time, so that there's no excuses if it doesn't work. I can just be like, well, it actually doesn't work. Because I heard that overall they have some bad reviews on these because they're so difficult to make, I guess. The thing with these type of swords is that they don't have to be perfect. I mean, I think even in the movie, they're not, 100% perfect because they're brutes that just have a lot of strength. So they just, I guess, needed a piece of metal to wield it and do some damage. Alright, I think that's good. I just want to remove a little bit of this excess. And with that, it seems like I also took care of the bubble problem. I just want to remove just a little bit extra, and then we're gonna cure it and see the final result. There are droplets here and there, but I think we're gonna be okay. So let's set it nicely over here, and it's time for the good old UV light. Alright, let's see if my patience and attentiveness paid off. I'm really, really afraid of pulling it out. I think it's gonna just break, but I really hope not. Okay, I think that's kind of good. I don't know if that's supposed to be like that or just bent now when I pulled it out. Yeah, I think it just bent when I pulled it out, so I'm gonna bend it upwards a little bit. I missed that top part there. But either way, let's just make sure this resin is perfectly cured, and for that, I'm just gonna hit it with the UV light once again. I honestly thought that's part of the design, but it seems like I did trap a little bubble in there. It's not too bad, but the thing I don't like the most is that I missed this part over here at the top. So I think I'm going to do another attempt just to see if maybe I can get it a little bit better than this. I think rather than trying to pull it with my fingers, the best way to do it is to kind of like bend the mold like this. I'd say this looks a lot better, and I didn't even know that the handle should be actually straight like that, because if you look at this other one, I thought that notch was supposed to be in there, but apparently not. So I guess we're going to use this one here at the top. I don't think it's part of the design to have that notch in there, but it doesn't look too bad, and I think we can actually get away with it. Again, I want to make sure the resin is fully cured, so back to the UV light. So far, I think it looks pretty good. However, the blade is kind of dull. It's not sharpened, and I don't know if it's supposed to be like that in the movie. Probably not. They do recommend you use the little file that they provided, but I think this was mostly to remove any excess amount of resin, not to sharpen it. But I have this little file here, and you know, I'm just gonna remove one layer at a time. I'm also going to sharpen the inside part of this little tip here. So after a little bit of sanding, this is what I got. Again, my goal wasn't to necessarily make it sharp, you know, to the point where it cuts something, but to just give it a little bit of an edge, you know? And I did the same with this tip over here, and I think it looks a lot better. Here's a quick comparison to kind of how it looked before. Now, one thing I don't like is the color of this resin. It's not even metallic, it's kind of like a greenish color. So I think I'm gonna paint over this, but before that, I wanna use my X-Acto knife to kind of like give it some wear and tear, you know, score it here and there. Make it look like it's been through a couple battles. I think that looks a lot better, and once we apply some paint, I think it will really pop. For the paint, I'm going to try to use these Uni Posca markers, which was, by the way, something suggested by you guys, so keep those comments coming because you guys have some really cool tips and tricks. We're going to start with the base coat of black. I know what you're thinking, but in my opinion, this already looks a little better. And I am by no means an artist, but I think next we should go with some gray, and then we're gonna just keep adding more colors and build it up. I'm pretty sure some of you out there know better how and what type of colors to use to make this look more realistic. You know what? I'm pretty proud of the way this looks so far. I'm gonna add a few more colors, and I really hope I'm not gonna ruin it, but if I do ruin it, then that means if you make it like this, just stop at this step and let it be as it is. I honestly think this looks pretty darn good. This side looks okay, but I feel like this side has a little bit too much silver, like it's too light, so maybe I'm gonna add a little bit more black. In fact, it's not gonna be a maybe, I will do that. I think that's much better. Now, all we need to do is add the little sticker here on the handle, which is supposed to imitate like black leather. However, I kind of have a feeling that it's a little bit too wide. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna cut it in half. Honestly, I don't even know if this is a sticker. I'm having a very... Oh, there it is. I was gonna say I'm having a very hard time removing the, you know, the paper part. And I'm glad I made a decision to go with half of that, because yeah, it would have been definitely too wide in my opinion. I think I went a little bit too thick here in the middle, but I don't know, should I add the other layer? Probably not, right? Yeah, I think I should leave it as is, otherwise it might be too thick and then, you know, it's gonna feel disproportionate to the blade, right? So here's a quick reminder of how the resin initially looked and how it looks now that we painted over it. Excluding some minor adjustments, I think it looks pretty good. And officially, this is, I guess, my version of the MiniVerse Uruk-hai sword. Now, give me just a second to clean this whole set and we're gonna move on to the next one. I really love how MiniVerse always switches things up when it comes to the design of the capsules, and it's always something that's themed. It definitely makes them a little more useful in other projects as opposed to the plain white capsules that mini brands use for their packaging. Alright, so we have quite a few things in here. I already like the way this looks. However, what worries me is to see so many of these, which means, you know, it's kind of like they're giving you extra chances to get a nice, perfect sword or whatever this will be. And here we have some glittery dust, and I apologize in advance for the way my fingers look now. I mean, they look good in the beginning of the video, but, you know, the more I work on these, the dirtier they're gonna get. In the pouch we got our usual resin. Let's check out this wooden box next. We have the usual map, and I just realized something. Technically the map is not always the same. So I think what's happening here is you do get pieces of a bigger map. Like for example, see how this kind of goes together like that? So maybe once you have all of the miniatures in this series, you're gonna be able to have a full map. So under the map you got your usual anvil, the sanding tool, and then a little hammer. Let's check real quick what weapons we're making this time. So it seems like we got the white knives. So we're gonna have to make 2 of them. And they give us 4 handles in case we mess them up. I really like the design on these and the attention to detail. They look perfect. Whoops. So let's get everything out first. And we're gonna build this stand real quick. Well, that's a shame. I was hoping the stand is just one piece, but instead it comes in 2 little pieces that, you know, they're just gonna sit like this next to each other. And they're also a little bit wobbly, which kind of sucks, but I guess you could probably stick them in place with some resin. All right, let's get our mold out real quick, see what we're working with. It looks very tiny, and I'm really afraid this might not work. And also, like, obviously once we put the resin in there, we are going to put these handles inside as well. I'm not sure exactly which way it should go. Yeah, that is strange. Like, which way am I supposed to put them? I don't think it's just like, oh, yes it is. I just need to put them all the way inside there. All right, so we're gonna have to be careful when we fill up the mold, not to get it higher than that. So what I'm thinking is to make the swords exactly as they show us, but then I'm going to probably use them in a different mode, like make it into a frozen moment type of situation. It'll make perfect sense once we get there. But first, I will have to be very careful with this powder because we need to pour some of it in there. And I don't want to pour too much because then I risk my resin not curing properly. For some reason, they didn't include one of those little utensils. So I'm gonna use this. Okay, that's too much. Okay, so do not squeeze it. Try to get everything in there first, or maybe tap it to go down. Yeah, tapping is something I should have done in the first place. The powder is super fine, so it's hard to just get the right amount. You always get more than you need. I think that's good for now. I'll use this toothpick to get it all in. All right, let me get rid of this excess. And now they say we're supposed to shake it. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna shake the living hell out of it. You just need to make sure it coats the entire inside of it. And then I'm gonna just get rid of the excess. All right, I think that's good. But now my fingers are all covered in this, I don't know, fairy dust or whatever it is. Let me put this down because that's a recipe for disaster. And I'm gonna remove this. All right, cool. So far, so good. I'm really curious if this resin has a different color, because if it doesn't, then I could use whatever I have left over from the other one. If you get these, be prepared to make a mess because, I mean, there's no avoiding it. Yeah, I think it's exactly the same. I mean, since I already have it there in the tube, I might as well use it. So I'm gonna get it a little bit closer maybe. And then I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom. This time I'm not gonna cut this. I wanna see if it works like that. Actually, I think it's better if I just hold it like this. I wanna do one quick squeeze and not stop until everything is filled up. I need to make sure I don't get it past this line over here. Okay, abort. I can't do one continuous squeeze. I don't have where else to go. I think I might have to leave it here. Let's try like this with both hands and leave it there. Hopefully it's not gonna tip over. Is there not enough resin in here? Like, what's going on? You know what? Let me just use the other one. All right, let's see. No, I definitely went past that line. And I do already see a bubble in there. Maybe if I tap it, it will come out. Or maybe a toothpick will help get it out. No, because now I have too much resin in there. No, let me try to dump it out. Actually, I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. I'm thinking of just, I mean, I do have 4 of these handles, so I guess I can, I don't know, waste one. Kinda don't want to, but I don't think I have a choice at this point. Yeah, definitely put too much resin in there. It's okay, we're just gonna wipe it down. I don't think that will be an issue. Or at least I hope it won't be an issue. Let's just go with it for now. Let's use the UV light and then we can just make it better with the next one. Alright, let's see. Hopefully I did cure it enough. Oh, I didn't like that. I heard a little bit of a crack. Oh, that's not good. A little knife broke in half, which I guess could be a prop for, I don't know, some kind of an accident or, you know, a very difficult battle or a lost war. But I don't know how I'm gonna get that out now. I mean, I know how to get it out, but that means I'm gonna ruin another handle. So I think the best way is to just put some more resin in here. And oh, I can put a toothpick in there and have it stick to the toothpick. I don't need to use a handle. All right, let's just do that. Okay, I'm gonna push it in as deep as it goes. Let's see. I really hope this will work, otherwise I'm kind of screwed. Come on. Okay, I guess I didn't cure it enough. Oh, but it worked. It worked. Look at that. I got the other part of the knife out. It kind of looks like a spear now. That's so funny. But I'm surprised not all the resin came out, unless I didn't put enough or... Oh no, actually all of it came out. It's just that I guess the toothpick is just thicker than the blade. I thought for sure that not all the resin came out. This looks kind of interesting though, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, so let's try that again. It was not all the way to the bottom. Darn it. Why is this so hard to work with these? Let me try this long one again, even though I think there's really not enough resin in here. Yeah, there's definitely not enough. I mean, if I squeezed this hard, the other bottle, it would have like squirted everywhere. Darn it, MiniVerse, you're doing it again with the resin. I mean, let me show you guys. I'm gonna squeeze all the way, everything I can. All right, look. Nothing. I wonder if the shimmery dust is enough, you know, to coat the outside of it and make it look nicely. Because if that's the case, I can just use some clear resin, you know, still use the dust, but then use some clear resin. Maybe that will help. All right, so I took that long nozzle thingy from the resin and I'm gonna add it to this clear resin that I have, which, by the way, it looks like this because it's been staying in water before so that, you know, it gets nice and runny. Hopefully this fits over here. I think that's good. Now let's test it out and get out all the other resin. Okay, this resin might be too viscous. Yeah, this resin is definitely too viscous. Even though it doesn't look that way, look. It looks pretty runny, right? I'll just try one more time and I'm gonna use a brand new little nozzle thingy. And I also want to check how big this is and kind of like cut it a little bit shorter. Because if it's because it's too viscous, I think the shorter the distance that has to travel, the more likely it is that it will go through. Okay, that worked, but it does barely come through. Okay, let's just give it a try. Let's see what happens. Well, it definitely filled up. I don't know if there's any bubbles in there or not, but I'm not gonna fill it up more than this because I don't want to have another situation where it pours out or it gets on the handle. Okay, let's put this in. Darn it. So what if I pull it out now and then wipe it off? Now I'm gonna wipe this off. So now technically all the excess came out, so it shouldn't be an issue anymore. Yep, I think we're good. Okay, let's cure it. I'm so curious how this will turn out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to kind of like move it around a little bit to loosen it up so, you know, it doesn't break or anything. Hopefully this is not a bad thing I'm doing, but anyway. So let's try to pull it out. I feel like if I pull harder, it's gonna rip. Come on. There we go. Slowly but surely. I didn't hear any pop like last time, so that's good. No, that's not good. I already see a hole. Could be worse, but the color is definitely not everywhere. It's probably because of the different resin I put in. There's a little hole over there, but again, we have a few more tries. I think I'm gonna do a clear one and then just try to paint it, you know, maybe that will turn out better. Well, first, I'm gonna kind of prime this. I think this one will be perfect. Let's put our handle in. I saw a little bit of resin coming out, which is good. It's a good sign. It means we have enough in there. So I'll pull it out. I'll wipe it down and put it back in. And now, as usual, time for the UV light. All right, let's see what abomination we have created here. Okay, not too shabby. All right, I mean, it's a clear sword, but we messed up the tip there a little bit. So I need to get it in there a little bit deeper. Other than that, it's kind of okay. The part here with the handle, it needs a little bit more resin maybe, but everything else looks pretty good. All right, so now the question is, what should I do with the fourth one? Should I use the MiniVerse resin? Should I use my own resin? I really don't know. This whole series is very, very tricky, isn't it? I think for this last attempt, I'm gonna use the MiniVerse version again. It's just that I'm gonna grab this container of resin that I have here in the back, and hopefully there will be enough resin in here. And no, I don't have any resin on my fingers, it's just the dust. I know a lot of you guys out there are worried about this resin situation. Oh, wait a second. This resin is clear. Sheesh. Okay, so I'm guessing it's from a different kit. Let's just use it. It is more fluid, so that's good. Let me just pour a little bit in here. Get rid of all those bubbles. Since the resin is clear, I'm not 100% sure I got it all the way in there, but I think I did. We're gonna find out now when we push this in. Yep, I did. I just saw, look at that, resin. Cool. Okay, time for the UV light. In the meantime, I also cleaned my fingies, but I'm sure it's not gonna last too long. Anyway, let's see what we got here. Come on, you can do it. Okay, this one is very stubborn. Oh, there we go. Oh boy, it's already bad. It's already really bad. Or not. Maybe it's just clear? No, it's definitely bad. I mean, I guess you can't have it all. Either everything else is perfect, but you mess up here at the handle, or you miss on the tip and the handle is okay. So yeah, it's like no matter what you do, you can definitely mess these up really easy. But let me try and think of a way that we could possibly save this little project. All right, I think I have an idea. Hear me out. So this is arguably the best one we have over here, right? The only problem with this one is that we have these little holes over here on the top and then one over here, but I think we can fix that, or at least kind of like do a good job of hiding it. Let's do that first. I'm just gonna use a toothpick and get a little bit of this resin. And we're just gonna take our time and try to work it in there somehow. And then use the rest of that drop to work it into that bigger hole. Right now we just need to wipe off the excess. And then we're gonna cure the resin. I'm gonna use this silver marker to kind of like paint the whole thing and make it look nice, especially right over there where the holes are. You can tell there was something happening there. Okay, and then I'm gonna wipe it down because it's kind of thick. And hopefully a little layer remains on it. I am honestly surprised that actually worked. So let's repeat the process on this other side. It's also really impressive that I happen to have the exact same shade of silver, metallic silver, right? Look at that, it's actually perfect. Probably gonna add another coat here to the tip part. And we're gonna do the same thing here at the top. And I'm just gonna add another coat to the whole thing before wiping it down. And this is the final result of our little attempt to save it. It's not perfect by any means, but it is a lot better. With adding the paint, I think I did lose a little bit of the detail, but it's not too bad, especially for what I'm about to try now. Don't worry, it's all part of the plan. I'm not messing with you here. Now we have two pieces. So what I want to do is I want to stick these two halves to the little mallet or hammer. Okay, that didn't work, but I guess I did needed the table to be clear. I don't know how else to do this, so I'm just gonna improvise and put it over here on the table, move it like so, just so that you guys can see. And I'm gonna put the anvil here for reference so I don't mess up the direction. And this has to go like this because the thing is gonna turn like that. And I'm gonna have to point it downwards. All right, I'm good. I'm just grabbing a very tiny amount of clear resin. I'm gonna add it here to the hammer. And now we're gonna use the UV light to set this in place. We're gonna do exactly the same thing, but on the opposite side. Now for the moment of truth, let's see if it looks good. Oh yeah, that looks perfect. Now let's get our anvil. All right, something like that. Let's get a little bit of resin. I'm not sure exactly which piece touches the anvil, but I'm gonna add a little bit to each of them, just to be on the safe side. Wait, actually, would it look better like this? I wish I could ask you guys in real time how would it look better, but maybe like this. No, I think this way. Yeah, you know what? Let's just do it this way. Let's just go with the initial gut. Well, I guess something good came out of this whole entire mess. See, I told you we're gonna do something different with each of them, even though my plan originally was for these to turn out perfect so that I can use them for a different type of scene. But oh well, I guess you gotta work with what you have and try to make the best of it. The only way I could make this better is if I was able to add some sort of a spark there, you know, like sparks coming out of it. But other than that, I think it looks absolutely amazing. Well, I was gonna make another one, but it's pretty late at this point, and this one took a lot out of me. I was a little bit worried that there's no way you can make these different, you know, from this series, but now that I made this and also this one over here, I have a whole bunch of other ideas that we can use for the other ones. But anyway, I want to thank you in advance for all your likes, comments, and for subscribing. And now, as usual, you guys stay golden and keep on shining until the next video. Bye bye.